Dear viewers, many thanks for joining us. This is our special edition on the current affairs of the country, Ethiopia. Today I've gone to have a Zoom meeting with Dr. Jemal Hassen. Dr. Jemal Hassen is a clinical epidemiologist born in East Hararge, Oromia, Ethiopia. Went to the United States of America 20 years ago, attended high school in Minneapolis, Minnesota, US. Graduated from the University of Minnesota, Twin Cities, in the campus with the 2 degrees and minors of BSc in biology, BA in psychology, minors in ethics and creative writing. Dr. Jemal has been speaking to 13 different medias, including Open Horn of Africa, Prime Media, KTV, American Media, and many more. He's also actively following the current situation of the country, Ethiopia, with a balancing understanding about it. Dr. Jemal, many thanks for joining me and welcome.
Oh, Alkaba, thank you so much for introduction. In OBN International Media, international program. Thank you so much, and their staff members. I really do appreciate for making this meeting arranging this meeting today. I do appreciate that.
Well, just to begin with, the law and order action taking place at the Tigray regional state, Ethiopia. What's your understanding as one Ethiopian who can concern us about the situation of the country, meaning your general overview about the operation? Thank you.
The government is like a parent protecting their own children from inside, from internal cause, internal problems, and external problems. So the government of Ethiopia is taking action to implement law and order in that country. Let me say this again. For the last 27 years, TPLF group, which is very few in numbers, they led that country for 27 years. So when the Dr. Abiy Ahmed, the prime minister, the current prime minister of Ethiopia took place, they did not want to leave the power. So what they have done is they left Addis Ababa, capital city, and went back to Mekelle, Tigray city of Ethiopia. They started recruiting other terrorist organizations like Baoshane and other groups, so they could turn over the government of Ethiopia and they could dismantle Dr. Abiy Ahmed. So now, on November 9th, 2020, this fugitive and a terrorist organization known as TPLF, they went into the Ethiopian army base in northern Ethiopia, Tigray region, while these men in uniform, women and men in uniform, sleeping nighttime, they slaughtered the Ethiopian National Army. That is when Dr. Abiy Ahmed and his administration took action against this TPLF group, because we have never heard in Africa and internationally any group that slaughtered their own armies. So now the international communities need to know about these facts and the situation, what is going on in Ethiopia. Ethiopian government is not in war with Tigrayan people or with anybody else. They are bringing this terrorist group to justice. That's what I like to make right here.
Well, following the recent operation taking place in the Tigray regional state, Ethiopia, many different actors are spreading false information and propaganda using different media outlets about the situation. To combat this, in what ways the people of the country and even international stakeholders can have the clear and tangible information?
Ever since that the TPLF on November 9th, when they attacked the Ethiopian National Army in northern Ethiopia, in Tigray region, so this TPLF has spread this false propaganda throughout African countries and international communities. For example, they have medias within the continent of Africa and outside of Africa. I can name some of them, for example, on Tigray Media House, in the OMN, in the Kello Media, and there are other medias that they have to spread this falsehood and the propaganda so the international community will look at the situation as though the Ethiopian government is attacking or waging war on Tigray people. That is absolutely false. That is propaganda. The international community need to know the fact on the ground. For example, any country actually, now in the United States, if one of the states attack national army, what do? They will take a strong action against anybody who wage war on national army and the local army. This is absolutely unacceptable action, and this is terrorism. So the Ethiopian government has to bring these criminals to justice. The international communities must understand and must stop getting their information from these outlets, from medias like OMN Media and the Tigray Media House and ONN, all these propagandists and false spreaders. If they want to know real situation, what is going on in Ethiopia, they must consult with Ethiopian government, Dr. Abiy, and there are some neighboring countries which would tell the true history about what is going on in Ethiopia. That is what I need to say. I think the international community must do their own research before they take falsehood from these propagandists.
What would be the Tigray People's Liberation Front TPLF's last strategy after knowing their defeat? Because they surely now they cannot survive the operation being underway by the federal government of Ethiopia. So what would be their last strategy?
I think their last strategies, I have been following this situation very, very carefully since they left the power, which they led for 27 years. When Dr. Abiy Ahmed came to power, they left that power, and what they did was they spent so much money, in millions of dollars, creating this gang organization, especially in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Washington, D.C., even here in Omaha, Nebraska, South Africa, in different African countries. So even if they lose, this group will do everything under their power to destroy Ethiopia and to terrorize peaceful Ethiopian citizens. So what I ask international community to do is to go after these TPLF terrorists and bring them to justice, whether they live in the United States of America or somewhere in African countries or European countries. Let me say this again. Unless we do this, unless we take a strong action against the TPLF terrorist organization, just like we did with Al-Shabaab and Al-Qaeda and the Boko Haram, I don't think this TPLF group will let international community and will let peace be in Ethiopia and in Horn of Africa, even in African countries. We must take a strong action from Ethiopia all the way to the United States. We must take a strong action to bring this terrorist organization before justice, to the justice. Otherwise, they will make terror, they will kill as much as possible, as much as they can in Ethiopia and in neighboring country, as long as they are alive. They have to come to the power. These guys are about only 20 or 30 of them. So they need to come to the justice, front of justice. That's my recommendation.
While the operation is clearly underway in the Tigray regional state with clear objectives, what kind of activities or what kind of precautions and care should be taken in order to save the life of civilians or in order to save the life of civilians living over there?
From my understanding and from my independent research, and like I said, I have been closely following this situation in Ethiopia, what the government of Ethiopia has done and doing so far is perfect. They gave 72 hours for peace-loving Ethiopian citizens who live in Tigray area to either stay inside or leave the city as soon as possible. I think the citizens there have been listening to the government of Ethiopia and cooperating with everything the government is saying. That is a good sign. On another in another way, the government of Ethiopia also taking every precaution to help Ethiopian citizens who live in Tigray area so they can safely remove themselves from the situation area. So that is a good thing. And I believe in the government of Ethiopia. I believe in the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Dr. Abiy Ahmed. Really, in the history of that country, there is never been a leader like Dr. Abiy Ahmed who cares about human life in general, about human lives, about people, even about animals. This president, this prime minister is actually really humanitarian. Just as he received a Nobel Prize, he's a very caring and very intelligent, and he knows what he's doing. So the international community, again, I am going to ask international community to help Dr. Abiy Ahmed and the government of Ethiopia to bring this fugitive and the terrorist group so the Tigray people in Tigray area, Tigrayan people in Tigray area, they can live in peace for once and all. Now, just about 2 days ago, I've interviewed this professor who is Tigrayan professor who lives here in Nebraska. I've been knowing this guy for the last 10 years. He said, this is absolutely necessary, and he's so happy that Dr. Abiy Ahmed bringing these TPLF leaders, actually gang leaders, to justice, because he said for the last 27 years that they were in power, they did not even care for the people that they they said that they represent, Tigray people, let alone about other Ethiopian groups. So every Ethiopian citizens, including the Tigrayans, are very happy for this fugitive and inhuman group to come to justice. Let me say this. For the last 27 years, this TPLF group has been absolutely cancer of Ethiopian societies. What they have done, they have killed, tortured millions of Oromo communities, Amhara communities, Gumuz, Wolaita, Kambata, all ethnic groups in Ethiopia for 27 years. All they know, all they did was inciting wars between two different groups and the three different groups and between Christians and Muslims, only to stay in power. TPLF group never cares about a single person, let alone about other 85 different Ethiopian ethnic groups. They never even cared about Tigrayan people. So this TPLF group need to come to justice. International community must stand with us. If they really want peace to be implemented in Ethiopia and in Horn of Africa and in international communities. Because if there is no peace in one country, there is no peace around the world. That's how I know. So I'm asking international community to stand with us.
Well, coming to you guys, Ethiopian diaspora, Ethiopian embassies residing in almost all parts of the country, and Ethiopian diplomats as a general, what would be their role at this critical time?
Our role is this. Ever since TPLF left power about 3 years ago, we know what they will do. We know how dangerous this terrorist organization, I call actually gang members, these gang members. So ever since they left office, power in Ethiopia, really we did not we have been worried. We have been so worried because we know what they will do. So now I am going to ask all ambassadors, all Ethiopian ambassadors and the diplomats who live outside of Ethiopia, within Ethiopia, we Ethiopian diasporans, to do as much as we can to help the government of Ethiopia so they can bring these TPLF, these gang members, to justice so Ethiopian citizens can live in peace for once and all. So we need to, whenever they spread this false propaganda, we, the Ethiopian citizens who really care about our country, about our citizens, about peace and progress for Ethiopians, we must take action. Whenever they spread this false propaganda, we must attack that falsehood with the truth. I always believe that truth will win, and we will win by standing with the truth and the peace and progress. So let us stand as one people. Although Ethiopia has more than 85 different ethnic groups, whether you agree politically, whether you agree with Dr. Abiy Ahmed, the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, or disagree, let us stand together to defeat this enemy. For example, here in the United States, we have two different groups, okay, like political groups, Republicans, liberals, and conservatives. Liberals and conservatives rarely agree with one another. However, when their country is under attack, either from outside terrorists or from external or internal terrorism, every Americans come together to attack that terrorist organization. That is what I'm going to ask all Ethiopians who live in Ethiopia and outside of Ethiopia, whether we agree or disagree with Dr. Abiy Ahmed, the Prime Minister of Ethiopia. This is not the time to talk about politics and to blame one another, to criticize one another. This is a time to come together under one umbrella so we can defeat this enemy for once and all. That is my call for my fellow Ethiopian Americans and Ethiopians who live around the world.
Well, Doctor, following this situation in the Tigray regional state Ethiopia, many civilians fleeing to Sudan and other neighboring countries. How can the government of Ethiopia accommodate this situation?
Yes, that's a very good question. Whenever the government is dealing with situation like this, of course there will be refugees even within the state or going outside of the states. So now, first thing is first. In order to have a peaceful country, we have to defeat this terrorist organization, TPLF. Once the Ethiopian government defeats these fugitive and the terrorist gang members, then they can help the Ethiopians who left the area, whether they left that area for Sudan or they just left, migrated to different countries within Ethiopia. So the government of Ethiopia and we, the diaspora-based Ethiopians or Ethiopians who live with the country, Ethiopian citizens who live in Ethiopia, we can make a plan to help our citizens return to their own cities and or relocate in other countries, in other cities within Ethiopia. For example, right after Ethiopian government defeat these gang members, terrorist organization TPLF, they can make a program that will help these these refugees to resettle in Hararge region of Ethiopia, or Walaga region of Ethiopia, or Gondar region of Ethiopia, or Walaita region of Ethiopia. So the nation, first of all, this is what we need to know. For the last 27 years, TPLF divided us based on ethnic groups. They divided us saying this area belongs to these certain ethnic groups. This area belongs to certain ethnic groups. That is not how I see it. I see it, Ethiopians, whether you were born in Gojam and Gondar, or Hararge or Wollo and Wallaga, or Tigray area, you are Ethiopians. You are Ethiopian citizen. You must live everywhere you want to live, anywhere you want to live in Ethiopia, because you are Ethiopian. Ethiopia belongs to you. Just like here in the United States of America, we have over 50 states. American citizens can live anywhere that they want to live. For example, there are so many natural disasters that happened. For example, Hurricane Katrina in 2005. A lot of American citizens left that area, in millions left that area. They migrated in Texas, Alaska, Nebraska, or Minnesota, or different states within the United States. This is what I expect Ethiopian government will do to help these refugees who exile to find a peaceful place. They can return these exilees from Sudan and spread throughout Ethiopia and help them to settle down within Ethiopia.
Well, besides the political differences in Ethiopia, what would be the role of the Ethiopian contesting political parties?
For the last 27 years in that country, I can say that we lost the sense of nationalities and nationalism, because what I have seen is a lot of people that I interview, even when I was in high school, I would just ask these people curiously, Ethiopians from different ethnic groups. So they always tend to incline toward their own ethnic groups rather than claiming that they are Ethiopian. I think TPLF played very strong role in that regard, where they divided Ethiopians based on their ethnic groups and the geographical locations and the religious identity. That mentality is a mentality of the colonizers. When Europeans went to Africa many years ago to colonize Africa, what they did was they divided Africans based on their ethnic groups. For example, very classical case that we can take from here is Rwanda. Belgium, years ago when Belgium went there, they divided these Rwandans between Hutu and the Tutsi. They even created identity, saying, oh, one tribe is taller than the other, must be this taller one is smarter than the shorter ones. That is how genocide took place in Rwanda in 1994, which actually killed over 1 million people within a week. So TPLF group played that role, exact game for 27 years, dividing our people based on their ethnic groups, geographical locations, and religion identities. So now I am asking my fellow Ethiopians, let us stop playing that division, and where we have to incline toward our ethnicities rather than the nation that we belong. We all are Ethiopians. Let us focus on our Ethiopianism, work hard to make Ethiopia great and the best country in Africa and in the world, so our people can live in peace for once and all. Imagine if we say, oh, this person is from these ethnic groups and he cannot lead me as a prime minister, and this person is this person is this. For how long are we going to play these foolish games? So our people always, do we have to fight and create civil war every 10 years and every 30 years? We have to ask ourselves this question. Absolutely not. In 2020 today, the world are thinking going on the moons, let alone dividing each other based on tribes and religion. So we have to say enough is enough. Enough is enough. We must support a person who is in the leadership, which is Dr. Abiy Ahmed. He is the Prime Minister of Ethiopia right now. We must support him until he finishes his time in the office and we elect another person. Look at for example, the United States of America. For the last 4 years, we've been laid for a foolish person who really didn't know how the government works. Americans did not say, you know what, we gotta go to war because we don't like this person, because he's this, because he's that. They waited, they worked together, and they moved their country toward progress. When time came, we elect another person. That is what I'm going to ask my fellow Ethiopians. Let us stop dividing each other. This is TPLF's game, old game, and abolitionist old game, where they divided Ethiopians based on their ethnicities, geographical locations, and the religion identities, so they can stay in power for as long as possible. We must stop these games and come together to make Ethiopia great again.
Coming to Ethiopian nations and nationals and people of the country, in what ways they can stand and help the National Defense Force of Ethiopia to come and face justice?
In the United States, this is what we say. When you see something going wrong, don't wait for somebody else to take action. You must take action as soon as possible. What I mean by that, if a common citizen living in certain area, let's say that in rural area, they know there are part of terrorist organizations and the bad guys or bad women living around this area to incite wars and civil wars between ethnic groups. They must take action. How do they take action? They must report to the local police officers. They must do everything they can to bring this person to justice, even if that person belongs to part of their ethnic groups or their brothers or their sisters. Unless we do that, what is the meaning of citizenship? A good citizens will take action regardless of what kind of terrorist organization, terrorist person is. For example, even if the terrorist is their own father, the person's father or brother, they must take action to bring that person, regardless of the relationship, before justice. Unless we do that, if I am hiding my brother who is a criminal, and the next neighbor going to hide his brother or sister who is a criminal, so we are corrupt in that term. Entire citizen will be corrupt. Therefore, the nation cannot sustain any longer. That is how Syria became. That's how Yemen became what it is today. Somalia. So in order to have a perfect country and a peaceful country, we have to take action against criminals. So what I'm asking is, every Ethiopian citizen, especially who live in Ethiopia, in a rural area or capital cities, they must take action helping Ethiopian government bring these criminal groups who are terrorizing the other peaceful citizens, nighttime or daytime. If you see something unusual going on in Ethiopia, in your city, in your neighborhood, you must call police officers. You must report that person. You must do whatever you can to bring that person to justice. Democracy comes with a lot of responsibilities. Unless we take that responsibility on our own, we cannot keep our country peace and move toward progress. So what I'm asking is, please report any criminal activities that you see, even if that person related to you.
Once this operation has been successfully done, how the government of Ethiopia can manage to restore peace and stability across the country and even and especially in a special way in the Tigray regional state?
It can be very difficult, but with a smart strategy, with a smart move, it is doable. And I think Dr. Abiy Ahmed and his team going to do this, will do this. My suggestion is, as soon as they defeat this terrorist organization, which is TPLF, the second thing that they should do is taking action, actually going through their employees. What I've been hearing is, within Ethiopia today, from Hararge, where I was born, especially in Awadai area, in Awadai city, in Haromaya, Diredawa, these workers, the government workers, while they are working for the government, they work against the government. Not all of them, but some of them. I have some information in my hand right now where they pretend that they're working hard for the government. Nighttime, they go around and promoting violence against the government of Ethiopia. They are recruiting these young guys between 15 to 20 years old, give them money that they received from the TPLF and from Abawashane. So telling these young guys and young girls to overturn the Ethiopian government. So the second thing Ethiopian government must do as soon as they defeat this TPLF, they must go through each Ethiopian city and give training. If they do not follow that training and orientation again, they must start firing and rehiring a loyal individuals, loyal people to the government. Unless you are loyal to the government, you cannot sustain and create a peaceful nation. So a lot of countries that we see in Africa, like Somalia 30 years ago, even South Sudanese, if you look at the history behind, in Syria, if you look at the history behind, the government workers are some of the worst people who can destroy the government or who can create the best government. So the government of Ethiopia must take time to give new orientation to every employees who work for them. If they don't learn from the mistake that they make in the past, they must start firing and rehiring. You have to be loyal to the government to sustain a good transaction.
Well, Doctor, I'm almost close to end with my questions. And lastly, if you have a general message and something special regarding the current situation of the country and others, you're highly welcomed.
Thank you so much. First of all, before I leave this meeting today, I would like to appreciate the Ethiopian artists from all ethnic backgrounds, especially the Oromo artists who came together, said we gotta stand with our country, we gotta stand with Dr. Abiy Ahmed, regardless of our political differences. That is what I'm going to ask again. If you are Ethiopians and you really love that country, and you love peace, love and progress, whether you live in Ethiopia or outside of Ethiopia, we must stand with Ethiopian government, with Dr. Abiy Ahmed, regardless of Ethiopian ethnic backgrounds and the religion differences. We must stand together to defend our nation, our sovereignty, our nationality, and armies from east to west and south to central. So that's what I'm asking. Let us come together. Love win, truth win, we will win this war. Ethiopia will continue to live forever. No enemy defeated in Ethiopia in the past, even when all African countries colonized. We Ethiopians defeated all kinds of enemies. For once and all, we will defeat this one, and we will create great Ethiopia for all Ethiopians. Thank you.
Many thanks for joining me and thank you very much.
Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
Dear viewers, this will bring us to the end of this edition. I'm Mulkawa Ndumu by hosting and producing this program for you. Have a beautiful time.